Would everybody get quiet at 7 o'clock? Sorry, well, okay, if you we'll call the meeting to order. If you all please rise for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Boroughs comply with the notice provision of the Sunshine Law by adopting prior to January 10th of this year, a resolution prescribing the dates, times, and locations of all regular meetings of the commission. This meeting is one of the meetings listed in such a resolution, and copies of the resolution were prior to January 10th filed with the borough. Commissioner Robinson is not here this evening. She was not feeling well, and he begged her to stay home. So that's why she's not here. So how?
Need a motion to file the minutes, January 9th, 2023.
Motion. Second.
And a motion to file the following reports: municipal court, tax collector, and zoning official.
Second.
All right, we have the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 1754, amending chapter 227 of the municipal code, Borough of Collinswood, provide for lead-based paint hazard inspections of rental properties.
So this is implementing a state law that we're required to include a lead-based paint inspection as we inspect rental properties. It's all pursuant to state law. We have to adopt it. If there's anyone that would like to make any comment on this, this is your opportunity to do so. Okay, Hal?
Mayor Malley?
Yes.
Official Lewandowski?
Yes.
Okay, we have the second reading and public hearing of ordinance 1755 to receive the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap limit.
So this is a requirement of the budgeting process under state law, whereby there's a 2% cap on what we're allowed to increase taxes by. And that 2% cap, to the extent that there's a year when you don't use the full amount of that cap, you're allowed to take the difference. So if you only use 1%, you have a 1% difference. You're allowed to carry it to the next year and basically bank that amount, so that if you have a rough year, you have some more room that you've made up from the year before. So we adopt this every year. If there's anyone like to bring anything before the commission on this, this is your opportunity to do so. Okay, Hal?
Mayor Malley?
Yes.
Official Lewandowski?
Yes.
Okay, we have the first reading of ordinance 1756 appropriating $666,609.11 from the American Rescue Act Fund for improvement of sewer infrastructure.
So this is part of that infrastructure money that we've all heard about over the last few years that most every town has gotten. This is putting it into making improvements on our sewer infrastructure, expanding it in certain areas, right? Yeah, so this is Harrison, the work. Cassandra, give us a little bit of work. This is under Route 130 this is extending the sewer construction over to the other side of Route 130, part of where we're hoping that's going to be our public works facility, but it kicks in and allows development to happen on that side of the pipe tied into our sewer system. This is the first reading. Second reading will be at our March 6th meeting, and it'll be a public hearing held at that time. Hal?
Mayor Malley?
Yes.
Official Lewandowski?
Yes.
And we have the first reading of ordinance 1757 approving an amendment to the Borough Code for parking enforcement of electric vehicles.
So this is putting in place, we have a couple stations that are operational now, and this is putting on parking restrictions on those spaces. To make sure that people are only parked there while they're charging their cars. And that people don't park there and stay for 12 hours. So this is just simply putting restrictions so we can enforce to try and make sure the spaces stay available unless you're charging your car. There'll be a second reading at the March sixth second reading March sixth. Then there'll be a public hearing on it there as well. Okay, Al?
Mayor Mallon,
Yes.
Commissioner Lewandowski.
Yes.
Okay, you now public comment on the
So
resolution.
now we're opening up public comment on the agenda, on the resolution items only. We'll have another public session at the end of the meeting to talk about whatever it is you may want to. Anyone have any questions, comments on the rest of the agenda? Okay. Thank you. All right, huh?
We have the following appointments, appointing John Klein as police captain for the borough of Collinswood.
Yes.
Appointing William Lyons as police captain for the borough of Collinswood.
Yes.
Appointing Eric Roseborough as police sergeant for the borough of Collinswood.
Yes. This is, all right. This is, I don't know, we should have like subtitled it all like Hollingswood Night. Because it is, it's not all the time that we have promotions like this within, any of our departments, but, homegrown, persons being promoted for, it scares me a little because I do these kids in Little League, so it's great here, but they've had it done for a while. And a lot of them here I got over, but, we want to welcome all the families that are here, all the uniforms that have showed up, and we're really grateful and happy that this is a moment we all get to enjoy. So, let's start out with John Klein. So John's wife Elena is not going to be up here holding a Bible because she is our municipal court clerk. And it's against the rules for her to participate in this. Used to every once in a while I see people on big group photos like hold a hand up that represented the person that wasn't there that they should have had. So we've got an imaginary hand hanging up here for Elena, okay? So we're gonna hold on, there you go. Hold that up so that you can put his hand on it. Right. And please, let me slide over here. Okay, raise your hand. John, I state your name.
I, John Klein,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and to the governments
and to the government
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
all the duties as police captain
all the duties of police captain
for the Borough of Collinswood Police Department
for the Borough of Collinswood Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congrats. Oh, there you go. Billy Lyons. I state your name. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And to the governments established in the United States. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform all the duties as police captain for the Borough of Collingswood Police Department, according to the best of my ability. So help me God. E. I state your name. I, Eric Roseborough, do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And to the governments. And to the government established in the United States. Established in the United States. And in this state. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. Under the authority of the people. And that I will faithfully, impartially, and justly perform. All the duties. As police sergeant. For the Borough of Collingswood Police Department. According to the best of my ability. So help me God. Congrats. Okay, thank you for all of you coming out. You're more than welcome to stay for the meeting, like that's gonna happen. But you can, if you want, take leave, you can head out. Just try to kind of be quick and be quiet, because we're gonna try and get through the rest of our meeting, all right? Congratulations to everyone.
Just, you know, want to try maybe like a video, is that okay, the video? Okay.
I hope they register.
Probably back to this one.
Oh, yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Wow, Joan, you weren't kidding.
The whole place. Okay, you and Mr. Richard.
Okay, all right, we're gonna get going. Everybody's gonna be quiet as they're leaving, right? So we can get the dot. Thank you. Okay.
Oh.
So this is a memorandum agreement that is settling the contract. All contract will be authorized, we'll have another resolution of that, this is just a tentative agreement.
Yeah.
Yes. Already like that.
Establishing salary for certain employees for the borough of Orleans College.
Yes.
Having Joseph Future, Department of Public Works.
Yeah.
Appoint full-time members to the Public Committee for Conrad County.
So this is simply moving our alternates on the joint land use board up to the permanent members. Yeah.
Yes. Reappointing members of the Public for Jody Farrow.
Same thing, reappointing, re-up in their terms, yes.
All kinds of applications, 2023-1, 2023-2, 2023-3, 2023-4 for American Welfare Association and the Rotary.
Yes.
Yeah. Authorizing the transfer of funds between appropriation and reserve balances. Yes.
Yes.
And the payment of bills presented by the treasurer.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Lewandowski.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just two things. First of all, we had our snowball ballot in support of the Constable Foundation of the Arts. We 400 people, just a fantastic time. I want to thank all staff in Ferguson, St. Kelly, and everyone that just made it, especially just folks who came. People were ready for a great time. And it raised money for a really important thing, and hopefully also raised awareness of what an important asset Scottish Rite Auditorium and programming is. We're fortunate, really the hard work of our mayor, especially to secure $3 million in support for capital improvements, AC for the Scottish Rite, and it's a great thing. And we'll open up the possibilities for programming there. So I want to thank everyone for that. The other thing is just sort of related to the parties of the world. So you were going to win the Super Bowl on Sunday. Just have people be careful, be responsible. You know, get your designated driver, stay home, don't climb our lamp posts. It's not safe and it's not smart. So have a good time. That's all I got there.
I want to thank everyone, the gal that helped put it together. I also want to just the same warning or request I issued that night is we need volunteers. Like we've got to have volunteers. That night I said, usually when I talk at these events, I thank the committee of volunteers that helped put it together, but this year I didn't have to because we didn't have one. This was a party that was thrown by the borough. Some of the staff helped put it all together. We did an event, raised some money for the Scottish Rite. It was all great and good. It was wonderful, but we really need people to get involved. Sitting and typing on Facebook is not being involved in your community. Okay, you need to get up, come out, get involved, do some of the activities, get some of the things going. I want to echo just a little differently what Rob had said. I want to extend thanks to Lou Capelli and the commissioners, the county commissioners, and also Governor Murphy. They together gave us a total of about $3 million to do air conditioning in the auditorium. So that work, a lot of work going on right now. Cassandra and the crew are working hard at it to be ready to start construction of that this summer. So the time when we're dark, when we're down, we'll be air conditioning the theater. That will let us operate that theater on a year-round basis. Opens a lot of different opportunities for us, and actually it's even more than year-round because we don't really schedule much in April or September because we used to. I've been to too many September concerts that it was 95 degrees outside, which means inside it's about 130 inside that auditorium. So that work is underway. Part of it, kind of the next step to making this venue more of a great amenity for town. It feeds our restaurants, does great things for us all over. So that's, I think that's kind of all I have for right now. Everything else is not quite ready for public show. So open up to the floor, questions, folks here, whatever you like to, go ahead. Just name and address, Mr. Clearman.
Richard Clayman, 743 Maple Terrace. At last commissioners meeting, I was told that there would be 2 handicap parking in the new part of the parking lot. Along public works. And that the painting wouldn't be done until March. Well, the painting's done, but I only noticed only 1.
Okay, no, Steven says there's 2.
They're in separate spots. You want to explain?
Yeah, we scattered around, our engineer told us the minimum we had to have, at least 5, 1 handicap accessible, so there's, I believe, 2, 3 here, and 2 back in that area as well.
Yes, but one of them is in that lane where they will set up the tents for the farmers market, so there's only 1 for the farmers.
So I talked to our farmer's market director and mentioned. We have a new director and that. We have to mind what we intend to represent spots, that's already gone into discussion, we're planning for 2025.
I didn't hear.
We need to talk to the farmer's market director about being mindful of putting tents on top of those spots, but we've already had that discussion for 2023.
So they,
We'll make sure there's availability of the handicap spot for parking.
because there's no parking up that lane. Because of the farmers market.
Okay, we'll make
So
sure,
there's only 1.
okay, I hear you, we'll make sure there is. You still got time,
Yes.
you got time. Got the painting done. It was warm enough, you got the painting. Yeah. All right, anything else, folks? Yep, name and address, please.
Wilmy Sweeps, 22 Prescott Terrace. I sent on Friday to the commissioners and to Holly a resolution for air quality for the fact that Coventa that Congress would still send the waste to the Coventa instead of.
Just a couple of more, come on up here. I can't hear you.
And I have a little bit cold.
That's okay, we still got the crowd going on. Yeah, go right ahead.
Mhm.
Go right ahead. Yes. Yeah, Vicky said that he hadn't really had a chance to look at it.
Yeah. You remind, you sent it Friday, and I sort of looked at it, but. Take a while to look at these things, so, and do your homework.
Next year on your option.
Okay. You got it, thanks. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Wayne Rossi, 114 East Palmer Ave. Yeah, I wanted to speak in favor of this. It's not, there are very few counties in the United States where you can actually point to a single building and say that it produces over half of the air pollution in that county, and you actually can with the Covanta facility in Camden. So I think, the gist of this is we're dumping our waste on Camden, which is an environmental justice issue in and of itself is something we have to deal with. But it also blows back to us, literally, in terms of air quality. And I think it's become an issue. I know that they're trying to expand Covanta, because I honestly think that the plant is, from all the information I've seen, nearing the point where it's just not going to be a profitable business to run, and that we need to look forward. And I really like the language that I've seen. This resolution was sent to me because I think if we can put a lead on Camden County moving towards zero waste, it's a really important initiative, and I think it would be an important way to step forward in the 2020s, that we move to stop burning our waste and move to better and more intelligent solutions.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, hello, excuse me, good evening. My name is Kevin Barfield, 522 Newton Lake Drive. And again, in support of the resolution was sent in reference to the Collingswood considering supporting the resolution, strongly considering because of what has been mentioned, in fact, of the incinerator being basically past its lifespan. The fact that even now a proposal of them trying to apply for a permit for liquid waste continues to have Camden as already an overburdened community under the environmental law, that this impacts all of the surrounding boroughs and county even now. The air quality is an issue and a concern for especially Camden residents. I've been born and raised in Camden. I just moved to Collingswood within the last 3 years. The health detriments of the air pollution, respiratory problems, heart conditions and things of that nature has only gotten worse. And within the next 3 years, by the time if they do and retrofit an airbag filter, you will still continue receiving all this pollution. 3 years ago, being part of the Camden County NAACP, we fought to keep Covanta from extending its lifespan with a microgrid. That project was stopped. They promised to actually do an airbag filter. They have not, kept their promise. Now they just actually try to but they actually submitted a application for three permits and one application, and hasn't barely given the people in Camden even notice of hearing, having it in public, just like in this particular situation. Collingswood allows, in person and virtual opportunities for people to participate in, this democratic process, that we should have a right, in reference to what goes on in our environment. And again, what happens in Camden affects all of us. And just like what's happening, even within this community now, did you see that there's a lot of people coming from the city and going into the housing with, apartment housing, within this community? Health impacts that they're having still has a burden on what takes place within this community. So, again, I hope that you look and visit that resolution, take it serious enough to want to support the residents of Camden and Camden County. And also, I would like to know, what is your contingency plan if something was to happen? Now, I'm looking at the amount of waste that you actually send to facility, even though it's like roughly around 6,000 pounds. This was like a 2020 report. I don't know if it's increased or not, but if something was to happen to that facility, what is your contingent plan on where would you dispose of your waste if something was to happen? Especially within the next 3 years, if they start doing work with modifying that facility with a liquid waste pipeline, or even doing a bag house filter, that could actually definitely have an effect on that facility. And just like anything, when you start trying to work on something that's old, you don't know what's going to happen. So I think that, you know, the commission, I would hope that you guys really take this seriously. Again, you know, I'm here as not only, now a Collinsville resident, but as a lifelong resident of Camden City, you know, and I know the impact of trying to go and talk to the people in the community, especially over this last month, just to try to get them to know that there's a public hearing, giving them the opportunity to hopefully get, give that opposition, because I know they talk to the people in the community, people have died, people have, babies that have disformities and things of that nature surrounding that incinerator. The other thing I wanted to kind of talk about is even like with Newton Creek, living across from the apartment complex at Parkview Tower. I know they were doing some dredging, and I know that even with Cavanna, Newton Creek comes from Camden all the way down. I know they've done a lot of things as far as that dredging. I've seen it was a lot of soil. I'm curious to know if there was any samples taken from that dredging project that took place right there on Newton Lake Park. Can you answer that question?
Well, you got me.
You asked about 8, but,
Yeah, it's kind of, I'm a little nervous, so I'm kind of like trying to fit it all in, family. I know I only have 3 minutes, but it's a lot, being able to talk,
So the dredging on Newton's been under the supervision of DEP for years, 6 years, 7 years it's been going on. The planning and the project, so yes, there's sampling getting done all the time, a lot of concerns about wildlife and also about what the dredge spoils are, what is in the dredge spoils. And that information I'm sure is available that you can get. County's been running that show. With respect to trash and what contingencies we have, for 25, 30 years, worked with the county and all of the towns kind of in a cooperative way in handling trash and recycling. So that we, when the county gets to a point where there's decisions to be made with respect to the incinerator, I know there was before, there was some talk about going elsewhere, but there's, they'll be in touch with all of us. Like they're working with all of us on what would happen. Since we got in the proposed resolution, which I think you guys sent to us before. I think we've been through this drill before. I don't remember exactly. I think it's been back a year or two. We went through this. Maybe when they were getting ready to do the microgrid.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
And I've already reached out to touch base with the county and just find out like what's going on with the story, because nothing's been relayed to us yet. So we'll find out.
Yeah. And one final to clear, to as far as the follow-up, even as far as last month, I called, I was on the Zoom meeting. Now, I seen that y'all have passed a resolution in reference to water, water increases. And I asked a question in reference to being at Parkview and the fact that you have, like, how are they able to calculate when you have so many, apartments and you have these buildings, and then hearing even with the response back in reference to the borough not having any oversight on the public or private property or rental properties, things of that nature. My question is, you guys don't have no kind of rental or tenants association or rules when it comes to rather rental increase or even rights of, individuals that are in these private properties? Because even like in a building such as Parkview, you have a lot of senior citizens, you have a lot of people that's disabled, and yes, you do have low income in there. So, right, like, who's representing their voice? And I would think that even if you have even private managers in your borough, that there should be some oversight from this commission. So if there's nothing there, I will hope to be, that something could be formulated to protect those who are not able to or have a voice. You got these property managers, they're using algorithms, and you're in a system, and everything is basically computer based now. By the time you get a notice from something that has misinformation, you have people getting stressed out with eviction notices and bills that they don't understand how they, so you have, a lot of stuff that's going on. I'm quite sure if you've been following what's been happening over that building, there's been a lot of high turnover, and that's a concern. I know when I first was moving there, I was like, how is it so many vacancies? But because, I wasn't able to go nowhere else, because not having a history of credit and rental, they was able to take it, which I'm grateful of. You know what I'm saying? But right now, you got people that's stuck, and even at the point of you want to relocate, you have to deal with your lease. You know what I'm saying? People should have options. You know, and people should be, there should be some transparency. And again, I think that whether it's a rental or tenants association, some kind of resolution that helps protect those, I think that that's would be the responsibility of this borough, in all due respect. So I hope you guys take that into consideration, and thank you for the time.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Anyone else? We're adjourned.
Thanks, everybody.